Alright, front side windows, the first thing we're going to want to actually do is clean the outside of the window. For that, we basically just use a water solution, which is soap and water. Spray it on there, and then just squeegee it off. It just helps remove any of the dirt and grime that might be on there. Just like that, nice and easy. And the water again, spray a nice coat on there. And we're going to put the first pre-cut piece of window film on the window so that we can determine the amount of heat shrinking we're going to need to do to remove the fingers and actually have it fit nice and snug on the inside of the glass just how it's supposed to. Now we work from the outside to begin with, just because it's a lot easier to work that way than it is to work from the inside of the window. So we lay the film up there like that. Notice we don't have it all the way down the bottom and there's extra up here on top. It's because we're going to shrink the bottom first and then the top. And then with a hard card, the squeegee, just kind of move things around, move the fingers around, so that they're on the top and the bottom. You don't want any fingers coming out from the side because you can't shrink sideways. You have to shrink down or up. Pull it up just a little bit more so I got some extra space in the bottom when I'm shrinking, just to make things a little easier for me. And you'll notice how these are coming up like that. Those are the fingers that we had to get rid of. And there's a whole bunch of big ones on top. We're going to worry about those in a little bit. Once we're after now, we're at the bottom. So we just move it around like that. I zoomed in on one of the bigger fingers in the bottom, just so you can see what happens when you start to heat shrink it, and what to look for, and how it should look when it's done. Okay. I'm just going to use my hard card on these smaller fingers because they're not that big, and so I'm not too worried about creasing them. There are times, and you'll see later on in the video, where you wrap your hard card with a paper towel or a cloth to soften it. So on bigger fingers, you won't crease them. Okay, got my heat gun, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to go over this finger right here first. And just watch, I guess, and you'll see what happens. It starts to shrink up and make squiggly lines. And you just push it down. You'll see smaller fingers coming up. Do the same thing with those. Push it down. Get all the little ones that come up. Push those down. And it's nice and flat. Plus another big finger here. And the little one next to it. Do the same thing with that. Just take the heat gun to it. Shrink it up. And make squiggly lines. And push it down. Sometimes you might have to go over it again. Just continue doing that with everything that pops up, and eventually they'll all go away. Sometimes you might have to push them a little to the side to create a new spot, a new finger, where it's not all completely down. It's perfectly fine. Your adhesive on the inside, then the install should hold that down. Do that to the rest of the bottom of the window until all the fingers on the bottom are gone. Use your gun, shrink it up, you'll see them become squiggly, push them down, and do it to everything that comes across. And you'll see that one's creeping back up on me. I'm not going to worry about that just quite yet. I'll get around to it. Just want to make sure that you get as many fingers as you can taken care of before you install the film. Because once you get on the inside, and the liner's been removed, it's going to be a lot harder to do this and have a good result. So once I think I have all the fingers taken care of, what I like to do is take the heat gun and just kind of skim along the bottom. Maybe some little fingers that pop up. Not very big ones, but like that. Things that should be taken care of before you work on the inside. There we go. Bottom is done. So now at the bottom of the window has been heat formed or heat shrunk to fit the curve. We have to do the top. Now that's going to involve taking the piece off and moving it down just like this. Just hold on to it with one hand. Spray the window again with your soap and water solution. Put the film back on. You'll notice this time I'm leaving a little bit of space up on the top because that's where I'm going to be pushing the excess film after it's shrunk. Once I have it lined up a little bit, take your card again, your hard card, smooth out the bottom. That's already been shrunk, so it should be pretty good. You might see little fingers coming up, but we're not going to worry too much about that. Mostly it's because you got excess hanging off down here, and air is able to get up in there. And once again, you push things up towards the top. Try to line your fingers up so they go straight up and down. Nothing coming from the side. If there's stuff coming from the side, push it up and over. Like on this finger, it's not going straight up and down, but that's okay, because when we shrink it, it'll actually tell you where to go by how it squiggles. If squiggles are sideways, it means it wants to be moved that way and up and out. If it's straight up and down squiggles, you just push it straight up. I'll try to zoom in when we're doing this so that we can get a good example of that. Alright, now I zoomed in on a couple of these fingers right here and here. I know there's a bad reflection in here from the lights on the ceiling, so you might see some what looks like fingers coming out from behind here. These are actually 2x4 beams, so try not to pay attention to those. And just try to watch the fingers that I do here and here. See if we can see the squiggles, and it tells you which way they want to go. Now, you don't want to hold the heat gun too close to the film and burn it or overheat it. So you want to just take your time with it and be patient. If you've never tinted before, it does take a little bit of time to understand how the film will react, and just kind of go at it. Now see, these are squiggling this way, so I know that the film needs to go up that way. And you'll see another big finger coming out, that's perfectly fine. See? Goes away. Do the same with this one. There you go. They go away. A couple more little things come out as you heat up. You just want to shrink those too. Okay, now I just moved the camera over a little bit. Show you the other two fingers here. And there's a third one on the side yet too that we'll get to it. So I just want to show you how these are done. Just shrink it up. Push it up. And little fingers come out from the sides. Shrink those too. Push everything up and out of the way. You got a nice flat film on the window. Notice that one's a little bit bigger, so as I shrunk it, it split into two, which is exactly what I wanted to do. I just kind of push the fingers to the side, the bigger ones, into some new film areas so that they shrink up nice and tight too. So you gotta push that one aside a little bit. Like that. Now this particular car has pretty curved windows, so it's a little bit more difficult than most cars. Now this last finger, that finger's pretty big, so I'm actually going to wrap up my hard card in some cloth, just like that. Just fold it over like that, just to soften up the edge a little bit. This way I can put a little bit more pressure on that finger without having to worry about creasing it too much. Because you definitely do not want to crease the film, otherwise you're going to see white marks after it's installed. Just shrink that one up, push it up, push it over a little bit, form a couple fingers over that one big finger, shrink them up. Main thing is take your time. There's no rush to do it. It's better to do a good job than to rush and make a mistake and have to start all over from scratch. Okay, now that I got that, I'm going to remove the towel and just use my hard card to push up the last part of the edge there. And then once again, take your gun and go from side to side, just passing over the edge of the film, looking for little fingers to pop up. Because you want to take care of those as much as you can before you put the film on the inside of the car. And there we go. We have the first front side window heat shrink. You'll notice it's kind of foggy and messy from the cloth on the hard card, so just for the video purpose, I'm going to clean that off so you can see how it forms on there nice and tight. Notice there's some things coming up on the bottom. Most of that's because there's film hanging off down here. Otherwise, it's pretty much right where we want it. So, now we get ready to install on the inside of the car. What I'm going to do is show you where I place the film while I prep the inside of the window. It's really quite simple. You just spray a little soapy solution out of the back window. If there's a window back there, or on this car, it's only 2 doors, so we just stick it to the side of the car. So you spray on the car, take your film, pull it off nice and carefully, and just stick it on there. I just want to move it there because I don't want to be closing it inside the door after I'm done with that. Okay, now we've moved to the inside of the window where we have to prep it, clean it, and get it ready for installing film. You'll notice that this particular vehicle has a borderless top of the window. Most vehicles will have a frame up there, so I'll try to explain how that will be done as I go along. But the first thing that we want to do is take your scraper, has a clean brand new razor blade in it, and spray the window with your soapy solution. You don't want to take a razor blade to a dry window, you'll scratch it. Take your blade and just hold it at an angle. I got it about a 45-degree angle or so. Go along the bottom of the window first, scraping. You'll hear sounds if you hit anything, and just make sure it's gone. This is a sticker. I'm taking the sticker right off. And I'm going to spray that spot a little bit more, get some of that residue out of there. You want to make sure you get everything as clean as you possibly can, because even one speck of dirt or dust or anything is going to show up nice and bright once the film is installed. And you just clean the rest of the window. Same way. Take your scraper to it. on the top edge. And it's pretty dry, so I'm going to spray it. Just like that. Get into any little crevices that you can. You want these windows as clean as you can get them. But once you've done that, you want to spray some more solution on there. And squeegee all that off. Just like that. Now, because this window doesn't have borders on it, all the water's just going right out. But if it did have borders, I turn my squeegee around and push that all right into the seal, right where the frame would be. Once I touched that and probably contaminated it, I want to clean it again. Just like that. Then you also want to take a cloth or paper towel and run it across the top edge, because that gets pretty dirty. I'm going to go back to this film piece here and remove the backing of it to get ready to install on the inside of the front window. Now it's just sitting here, but I'm going to reposition it so it's easier for me to work with. So I'm going to spray this again. Stick it on there. Now there's different methods of removing the liner, which is on the back of the film, protecting the adhesive. You can use tape, which I'll show you here in the video. Just take 2 pieces of tape, 1 inch long or so a piece. Place one facing towards you, the adhesive, on the back of the film. The other one with the adhesive facing away from you, on the front of the film, so that it looks about like that. Press down on it to make sure it's sticking to the film. Then take it and peel it apart. And you'll see there I got the clear liner coming off. So before I go any further, the first thing I'm going to do is spray some solution in there so that if I let go of it, it comes off nice and easy for me. So now that I got that started, I'm going to peel it apart little by little and spray as I go. Okay, so as I'm peeling it apart, I want to spray water in there with the soap solution, just so that if it touches itself or the liner goes back up on it, it doesn't stick to itself and the liner is easy to get off. If by chance you do get tint that hasn't been sprayed, where the adhesive side touches itself, that piece is pretty much toast. Now you notice I peeled across the top first, and now I'm going to work down on it. I'm only going to pull it until there's about 3 or 4 inches or so that still has a liner on it, and I'm going to leave it just like that until its final install comes in. Now back to the window. It's been cleaned, it's been prepped. What you want to do now is install the film on it. So I'm going to zoom in there a little bit so you can see this. You spray it heavily with the solution. There's no such thing as too much application fluid. So now that's drenched, I'm going to spray the film one more time. I'm going to pick pick it up like this by its edges. And I'm going to align the top edge of the window. You want it to be about a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch from the very top of the edge. And that reason's because if it's over the curvature where it rounds off the top here, a little bit's hanging off, you'll be able to feel it with your finger and it'll grab things and it'll start to peel off. I'm going to remove that tape there. But it doesn't have to be exact because we can always trim it. Which is what I'm going to end up doing because during heat shrinking I over shrunk a little piece right here. So I'm going to push that up above the window along with the rest of the other parts of the film just so I can trim that off and have a clean looking install. Now where I'm at, it's awfully hot out today, so my solution is drying up pretty quick on me and things are sticking more than I really like them to. So I'm going to spray some more solution in there just to help make things a little easier for me today. Okay, so now that you got that, you'll notice I still got the back of the liner, which is going up to about here on the film. Just hanging there, so when I install it, I'm going to install the top part first, get the stick, and then I'll work the way down. Now the reason we do this is because on most vehicles we have the frame and we actually roll the window down a little bit before we get this far and align the top of the edges, and then we have to roll that window back up into the frame in order to get down here. So hopefully somewhere on this video I'll have a car that has the frame on there and I'll be able to show you that and explain that to you. So for right now, this is what I'm working with. I just take my hard card again, I start in the middle, I push up, I kind of go to the side. This window is really curved, so I got to be pushing pretty hard to get this stuff down. Go to the side this way. Also I'm going careful and soft because as you push the bubbles all the way, they may want to kind of form up on you, and you don't want to be creasing them. So we go nice and gentle, just kind of push those out of there. They'll tell you where they want to go, whether it's up or down or wherever. We just push those out. Once the spot I heat shrunk doesn't want to go down there too much. Part that I over shrunk. But that's okay because we're going to trim that off. And then make it look nice and pretty. This vehicle's also got a piece of plastic over here that we need to get that film underneath. So I'm using my hard card, sticking it in there, and very carefully pulling that plastic back as I go. Push as many of these bubbles out as you can. Get it laying on there as flat as you can to begin with. My top isn't looking so hot right now because I got film hanging over the edge. So it doesn't want to stick up there as if it were not hanging over the edge. Okay, now that I got most of the window laid up like that, it's time to remove this and tuck the film behind and underneath the dew strip that's hanging there. So what I want to do is spray water on here again. Very carefully pull off the bottom. Notice I'm holding the film up here. Otherwise, if you pull, it's going to pull all that film right up. And then you got to use your hard card to push it back down. And it's just more time consuming than it needs to be. So I like to hold the film as I'm holding the liner on. Okay, now that's just kind of hanging there. And I'm really hoping that the door seals here, panel, I'm really hoping that's clean and doesn't get a bunch of contamination in there. I'm just going to push this down, and pretty soon we're going to be doing some fun stuff of trying to get that underneath the seal, which we'll do right now. And probably the easiest and best way that I found to do it is to use 2 hard cards. Colors don't matter. Colors just tell you how soft and flexible the card is. Blue is pretty soft, it's pretty flexible. Black is stiff, it's not as flexible. And it's really up to you and your personal preference on which ones you use. So okay, what I want to do is try to get one card back behind the seal and start pushing it in there. And this card, I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. It's got this plastic piece here, which is going to be a real pain to get underneath, so yeah, it's real flexible. So I'm going to do something a little bit different, a little trick, which shouldn't affect the total outcome, the way the window looks. So I'm just tucking that in there the best I can get it. It's right on the seal. On the outside of the window, the outside strip is a little bit lower than that, so the inside strip covers up what's on the outside, so there won't be any light gaps. The customer won't see any of that. So I'm going to take my little pocket knife and I'm going to cut from the edge of where this inner seal is, right in here. I'm going to cut down and away from me to remove this excess. All the way to the other edge. Let that hang there. Piece out, get to it. I've also bent the tip of one of my hard cards just a little bit so that I can get underneath there and grab things if I have to, just like that. Let me pull that out. Push down in there. Make sure that bottom piece, bottom of the film, nice and tight. Now this part I left hang out because I want to bring the corner of that down just enough so that it's right on that gasket or slightly behind and underneath it if I can get it there. Try to zoom in on that so you can see it. even cut all the way to the edge. There's a little bit right there. So as you see, there's the gasket underneath it. So I'm going to take a little blade, get in there, very carefully, take a little slit towards me, and then pull that film off. Pull it towards me, not away from me, otherwise it's going to rip upwards and go into the film, and then you got to start all over. Okay, so now that I got that part hanging there, I can make a little crease wherever that gasket's at, cut right along it. Move that extra piece. And there's just enough there for me to push it down in there. Just like so. Okay. Now what I want to do is take my hard card again and use a lot more pressure this time to remove more water. As you can see, I don't know if you can see too well in the video, it's actually squirting out the top as I'm doing this. And considering there is soap in it, you hope it doesn't hit you in the eye. Alright, now remember I left a little bit hanging up there because I had overshrunk it in one spot right here. I don't know if you can even see it on the video, but there's a ring right here, like a pocket of air. There's some soap and bubbles in there. And that's there because, well, first it's overshrunk, and because it's hanging up over the edge here, so air is able to get in there. So I want to trim that off. Again, I use my clicker here. And I'll try to do this so you can see it. Start at the edge. I'm holding it at about a 45-degree angle. And I'm making little slices going up and down as I go to remove the part that I left hanging over. I can actually be going faster than this, but I want to show you on the video because people who may not be too familiar with window tinting, they may just go right at it, and then you get to a spot, say your blade gets dull, it's going to grab that film, it's going to bunch it up, and chances are it's going to rip inwards where you have to get a new piece and start all over again. Let's go slow. Take your time. Keep your eye on it just in case it starts to try to bunch up on you. You're able to catch it before you run into any serious problems. I'm going about ½ an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch at a time here. I'm in no hurry. I'd rather take my time and get this one piece on than have to start all over. Like that. Now I should be able to push out this ring right here, a little finger here, and some little ones up there. And the adhesive should be strong enough to make them stick. Perfect. Sometimes you get little fingers, just little itsy bitsy tiny ones. And those ones will heat shrink out pretty easily. And making sure that the bottom's nice and tight in there, that there's no film sticking up or out, and that it's all sticking to the window the way it should be. Pushing up from the edge, pushing extra water out. Now you don't have to get all the water out. It would be nearly impossible. But you want to get out as much as you can just because it helps speed up curing time. And the person will be able to roll up their windows up and down a lot faster than they would otherwise. And then once again, also push. You'll notice I started about halfway up when I was pushing up. I also want to start about halfway and push down and remove water downwards as well. And there we go. That window is tinted. So what I would do now is just spray a little bit of soapy solution on it. Take my cloth and just give it a final cleaning. Doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to be able to see it nice and clearly because you're going to be looking for little water bubbles or spots that need to be touched up as we go along. Notice right here in the corner there's a little piece hanging over. I got to trim that off because I don't want that grabbing onto anything. So I'll just take the blade, put it right along the edge, and just trim that corner off. I want to try to make it look rounded. Not jagged. And because I also trimmed this top window, I'm going to rub my fingers on it. See, there's a spot there. See how that came down? I want to make sure to take care of that. Just kind of shade at it. Holding your blade for an angle about like so. So that you're behind. Okay, and I also came off this edge a little bit, so I'm guessing I gotta trim that too. So I'm gonna go right down, shave at it. There's a little bit here coming off. I'll be careful not to pull that inwards, otherwise it's going to rip inwards. And let's start all over. There we go. Nice. Nothing's coming off. A little bit right there. Shave at that. pushed up on me, so right there I got a problem. Now, this is actually good because I can show you something. There's a way, without having to trim that, it's less desirable, but it also brings it back down to where I said, bring it down 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch below that top. So we're going to take the blade again. I got a fresh new tip. I'm going to put it, 1/8 of an inch or so below the window, holding it tight with my finger as a guide. I'm actually removing a section of that top. All the way across, all the way down. Try to keep it nice and steady so it's a steady line. All the way down. Pull it off. Right there is where I ripped it, and I'm below that point. So I'm going to just pull it off. I get around out this corner again because of that. No big deal. Just like that. Now at least I don't got to worry about it peeling off from the top or anything. There's a little bit of water bubble there. I'm just going to remove that real quick. Just like that. A little bubble down here, pull that down. And we have a tinted window. I already cleaned the inside. I'm just going to spray a little water on the outside. Clean that too, and then we're going to close it and take a look at it and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed on it. What we're looking for is white spots, the creases along the edge, and I'm not seeing any. There's on the top of the window. Sorry about the light reflection. Might be a little problem right here, right in that corner where I had to trim things off. See that? Little spots where it doesn't want to stick too much. So what we're going to do to fix that is take your heat gun. From the outside of the window, we're going to heat it up. Heat the window up until it's nice and hot. And this will instantly evaporate all the water underneath there. And will also make the adhesive stick much better, because there's no water on it. Now you don't want to heat it up so much that you burn this rubber seal. Basically, if you can take your hand on the back of it, you want it just to the point where your hand can no longer handle the heat. You start to see bubbling, like boiling underneath there. You've done it too much and you're actually boiling the adhesive. So now that I've heated that up, we just take our hard part and push it down again. Might take a couple passes. You might have to hold it there for a minute or two to let that adhesive set in. But as you see now, it's sticking much, much better than it was before. I'm I'm using quite a bit of pressure here to get it to stick. And that glass is pretty hot. Okay, there we got that window tinted.